Well, I think we have most everyone that will be joining us in real time, so I am going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to today's town hall. As usual, these meetings will be recorded and posted to the hub, so you're welcome to watch the recording later as well. A few housekeeping items before we get into today's presentation. We did send out the agenda and a link to submit questions in advance of the call. Huge thank you to everybody that took that opportunity to submit questions. We will be addressing those questions at the very end of the presentation. We'll also be answering questions that are chatted or asked live at the end as well. We won't be doing questions per section. So please hold on to those questions or drop them in the chat. I'll be observing the chat throughout the call also, so I might get you a response written down in the chat, or I'll at one of our team members to respond to you directly. With that said, I'm going to hand it over to Jeff to give his update.
Hey guys, the slide isn't, I don't have access to move the slide forward one. If you could click forward one, there we go. Good to see everybody briefly today. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be too much of today's presentation, but I know we're going to be going over a lot of stuff. Hope everybody had a wonderful National Acai Bowl Day. I sure did. But I want to quickly touch on some not urgent items, but things to get moving as we move towards menu expansion. First and foremost, the thing that every store has to start to think about and get moving on is installing the power up front so we can be able to put in the piece of equipment. Our goal and our target will be June 1st. Today is not about that entire rollout, but that is just to get that ball started. And we're going to be able to help each and every single one of you that needs it to make sure that we can identify the right spot and any questions we have. We're going to be coming out over the next week or two with more information, and we're going to have a webinar just about this, and we're going to dive into all the minutia and the details and the rollout and the training and access. So that's not today, but I want to get this ball started because it's going to take some time, and I want to make sure we have adequate runway to find the location, identify it, and do it. And just to reiterate, because I know I've gotten a few texts and questions as to what the spirit, goal, and intent is of a menu expansion and why we're trying to do it. It's really those 4 bullets you see on your screen. Increase guest frequency from the existing Everbowl customer. We have such a good cohort of diehard Everbowl fans. They come when they want an acai bowl or a superfood bowl or a smoothie, maybe a toast. But when they're going to consume food the rest of the week and the rest of their day parts, that isn't what we're already offering. They're going somewhere else. So why don't we find a way to increase their frequency to us? And so we have some good items that are coming to target them and how they consume and what they consume. We also have additional day parts. We pay rent all day, but we don't sell a ton of product in all the different day parts as the consumer moves through the world. So we really wanted to focus on expanding the breakfast items, the later afternoon and evening items, and kind of provide other ways for us to increase our sales by hour and which hours we sell. So improve and strengthen the slower day parts. Protein, the number one thing we get asked right now is, when are we going to get protein in other varieties, in bowls and other things? Because protein is it is a fad, but it's not a fad, right? It's the hot fad of the moment that stays forever. And so we want to find other ways to bring protein into our menu so we can really address all of them, especially as we think about, near gyms and near the healthy lifestyle. After that workout, they may want something with protein. And then the biggest thing that has hurt our ability to increase the ticket, which is the world famous, would you like fries with that, and the combo meal. When you order an acai bowl or a smoothie, you traditionally don't order it with something else. That's unfortunately the one big negative of our best product. It stands alone. You don't really need a beverage with it. So we don't have items today outside of a few that really allow us to throw on our drink program in a way that would be meaningful, because it'd be the drink plus. A smoothie and a sip, unlikely. An acai bowl and a sip, possible, but I've eaten a lot of bowls in my life and I don't usually need a beverage. So the ability for us to find ways to increase that ticket, and also do the combo meals, which is where you can bring items and leverage the fact that we have these grab and goes, and we have an expansion in these other areas, so we can take the same customer who was coming anyway and take them from a $12 or $13 item or an $18 total ticket to a $22, $23, $24, $25 ticket with the same number of humans through the door. So that is going to be and will be the focus. So when you see, as we kind of go through it, just hold those 4 bullets as kind of the 4 overarching targets for everything we're doing around menu expansion and why. And that's how we're going to grade and judge everything we do. And so that's what I really wanted to touch on as to the why, because I've been getting, a handful of questions around it, and I didn't want to leave everyone in the lurch as to kind of the target and the goal that we're working towards. But more importantly, after this call, when you start to think about next steps, to be able to participate and take advantage of what we're doing, we need everyone to start to think about it. And I don't want to give everyone the fire drill 2 weeks before. So we're targeting early June. So by June 1st, if everybody has power ready to roll, as well as us to make sure that you have and received your equipment, we will be set to go. And with that, I will pass the baton to our trusted leader, Trevor, for State of the Union.
Thanks, Jeff. Hey, everybody, glad to see you here. Thank you so much for joining. It's exciting. It's been our first live update, at the beginning of the year here. So I'm excited to walk through just a couple of things. I'm going to keep mine kind of short just because we got a lot of meat and potatoes from some of the newer team members here. So I want to get them. But I want to start just with a quick, brief state of the company, kind of how we're doing, kicking off the first quarter. It's been busy, right? It's been super busy for us administratively, in our industry, for us ending the year, tying up the year, completing the audit, getting our FDD renewed, workspace migration, everything that we've been working through. It's been super, super busy for us, but in a good way, right? Building a lot of systems and processes for the future. And additionally, bringing on some key team members. So we're fortunate to have 2 new team members on board who you've been introduced to, but you're going to hear from today. I think they're both outstanding fits for our organization. They're going to help propel us into the future. We also opened 3 new locations, so that's always good that the openings are continuing. And we signed 15 new franchise agreements since the beginning of the year. So obviously that helps us with growth overall as we add more stores and more people to the system. The brand development fund gets larger and larger, which means there's more impact on all of your individual stores. So we are continuing to expand our team. We are searching currently for 2 new FBCs, franchise business coaches. Ideally, it would be Central or East Coast based, and the other would be West Coast based. So we have a link right now on Indeed that we are searching for those. If you know of anybody, if there's anybody that's interested for those, I'd be happy to, we'll share that link with you in the recap. And we're also hiring 2 new field trainers. And Haley's going to talk a lot about our emphasis and our importance and how we are stressing training in the future and this year specifically. So we bring on 2 new field trainers to help accelerate that as well. Next, I just want to talk quickly about a little bit of our internal communications protocol. We are now all on the ebfranchise.com email address. I want to emphasize and stress that is the medium with which we will use to communicate with each other. That is how you have access to all of our files and folders. Some things are accessible, some things are downloadable, and some things are not for security purposes. However, we need to be able to communicate with you on those channels and not on personal channels. That includes, webinars and everything else we do. We're going to get tighter and we're going to get better at our communications process. And Amanda has been tasked with a strategy to roll out a strategy for our internal communications. And that's a big part of what we're going to do. However, do want to make sure that we stay on that channel. And then just a word about text messages. I do want you to know that in an emergency, I am available 24/7. Jeff is available 24/7. If anybody needs my cell number, they're welcome to it. I would also say, though, I would on off hours, I would hope that we keep those to emergency situations. I do field messages throughout all the weekend at all hours, which I am personally fine with. I can't ask my team to do the same though. So I would just ask you to please, email. And then if it's an emergency situation, we'll all be available for you. And then lastly, on the company update, crushing it. 6.6% up in same store sales versus last year. That is huge. That's a big win. I think there are a lot of factors that are contributing to that. Not only the fact that we've got new loyalty in process, that we are doing SMS messaging, that we are doing email campaigns, and that we are ramping things up. So, and we've had a great NABD and also a great launch of our spring promotion. So congratulations on that. We're going to keep going. My goal would be to be at double-digit same-store sales, which is best in class. So leading into that, I just want to kind of share really quickly our internal ever goals for the year. Every year we set these goals and we strive to them. Sometimes they're big, hairy, audacious goals, but this year we want to end this year with 125 open locations at year end. I think we can actually go beyond that. That one might be a little bit of a sandbag, but I'm confident that we can hit that and go beyond. And the other major goal for us that affects you guys directly, right? We have and our FDD, if you ever want to know this, every year we now have an item 19, which kind of tells where our best our medium and our slowest stores are performing. So you can always go to that document, and we update it every year now. So the system average, with everybody included, being right now at 470,000 as our average unit volume. Our goal this year by end of year is to have that to 570,000. We're not going to talk about today, but there's a bunch of strategies in place, including new menu launch and including a lot of other things that we have cooking to try to get us there, including opening stronger, busier new stores. We also have a goal of selling 50 new franchise agreements, which we're well on our way to. And then we are going to expand our non-traditional locations to include airports. So big news that we have now signed 2 airport locations, and we're going to be opening this year in Huntsville, Alabama, HSV, and Miami International. So we're very excited about that. We've got great partners that will be running and operating those locations. And then finally, we want to get to beyond 55 million in system-wide total sales this year. I think that's we're on track to do that, especially with the same-store sales increase that we're seeing. Last slide for me. Finally, I just want to talk about the Sysco MSA. I did send out a notification just in case you didn't get that or had questions about it. I wanted to highlight a couple of important things about having this MSA. Typically, these are 3-year agreements that we get into. We worked really, really hard, and it took an extra long time, 2 months extra at least, because of our back and forth negotiations with Sysco to try to strengthen our supply chain system. So prior to our prior agreement had a 3-week safety stock clause in it. However, there weren't a lot of teeth to it. So we now have protection for that. So Sysco is required to carry 3 weeks of safety stock. If they do not, and it is their fault that one of our stores runs out, they must overnight product to your location at their cost, and they must do it in the same time that it would have been delivered. So for example, if you order on Monday for a delivery on Tuesday and they know they are out of that product, on Monday, they must overnight the product to get it to you at the same time as that delivery, okay? This is their fault for not keeping a 3-week safety stock and we run out. If there's things that happen out of their control, obviously they're not in charge of that. But I think that's a really, really big win for us. And what it's gonna do is it's gonna actually just cause them to do their job a little bit better, okay? Because they don't wanna pay those overnight fees. We've got a transparent cost plus pricing structure. It's 10% on most items. So that's really, really good for where we are at for delivery on that. We can't get much better than that right now. And then really importantly, we're getting visibility on their inventory with enhanced technology. So we are now connecting all of their APIs. So we are getting direct reporting from them on a daily basis. And we're going to try to get it in real time as best as possible. That is going to help us build dashboards that shall tell us like where all of our inventory sits all across the platform. I'm going to let Ed talk a little bit later about the reasoning for getting your inventories to us, but that's part of it because we are going to, from beginning of the chain to the end of the chain, know where all of our proprietary products are. And then part of this negotiation, it's not all one-sided, obviously, right? And this isn't new, but I just wanted to point it out. They do require that we are purchasing 80% of our products from Sysco. That is part of this contract. I have not ever known them personally to do an audit, although I'm sure that they could at some point. They could call an audit and say, if you're doing 10,000 in sales, you should be spending 3,000 a week. You should be therefore spending $2,400 a week with us at Sysco. Again, I have not heard of that before, but certainly to make this work, to be good partners, we do need to buy the bulk of our products from Sysco whenever possible. New market support for 90 days. Super, super important to understand this point. When a new store opens for 90 days, there is no number of turns needed. They will support all of our proprietary products and they will keep stock on all of our sorbet, our bases, our bowls, our plastics, everything that's proprietary. After the 90-day window of a new store, they are only committed to keeping products in place, even proprietary ones, that turn at least 5 cases a week. This does not apply to sorbets, to our bases, and to our granola. So there is no Sysco DC that should tell you that one of our sorbets or our granola is a special order item. So that's really, really important to know. That doesn't happen. I don't care if it's one store, one DC, they are required to carry those. They are not required to carry the plastics in the same way. So we do need to move that at least 5 cases a week, or that becomes a special order item. I want to make sure everybody like understands that point. And then we also put much stronger language in them hitting their delivery windows, because we know that's been a pain point for people just not showing up on time. So if they're not hitting any of these points, I encourage you to email Courtney with any concerns that you're having that they are not adhering to the most important points in this new MSA. So hopefully that's all clear to everybody. And I will now exit off the stage and pass it on. But thank you very much.
Great, thank you. Again, my name is Ed. Nice to meet everybody here online. If I didn't meet you last month in our online meeting, I've been here for about 6 weeks and very excited. What I can tell you from the finance seat is, again, from my experience with a nationally recognized franchisor relationship business, is that this company is doing everything right in terms of growing to that 570 AUV. That's a very aggressive move, but everything we're doing in the background is setting that up for success. So with that comes not only with my onboarding, but gearing up for this revolutionary transition for the company. Is there have been a couple of delays, and one of them is this weekly sales report that I know all of y'all have come to love. And so having said that, is we will take a look at the new format and what we've done. Again, as we grow larger, it's getting harder and harder to go back to the old ways, data mine the information a certain way and get that pushed out. And so these are some of the systems that we're putting in place. I'm going to talk about the month-end inventory that Trevor has pulled up, as well as the P&L monthly submission, why we do it, and then followed up by the accounting services that we have now transitioned to and have gone live. One thing that I do want to talk about here is most of you on the call are familiar with a January 24th incident with Toast and that transition as we all integrated the Toast to POS to your stores, specifically speaking about unable to ringing in the signature bowls. With the investigation and the audit, Toast has refunded each one of your stores already. And so what we are asking for is that you ring in those sales by the month end, by the month of in April, so we can also go back and possibly do some adjustments in terms of remembering this next year, so it doesn't skew our AUVs and comp sales and all of that stuff. So again, we're just requesting that you do put in your sales for that day, as far as I understand, pre-me, but as far as I understand, we're down for about a half a day on that button. So if you can ring that in under open food, it'd be greatly appreciated by the end of the month. Okay. So on our weekly sales report, it is a new format, and along with my onboarding is the transition of moving this to a real-time event for us and how we can pull the information. This is the requirements. I know sometimes it's a pain to go through transition, especially a lot at once, but the transitions on the accounting side allow us to get you the information that you want. It's a remarkable tool that we now have, and we have better granularity on tracking those trends. We can see how the store is performing, obviously, against a system which you have grown to love. My promise to you from the finance department is pending any technical issues and natural disasters, and act of God, that we will have the weekly cadence being Mondays at 5 p.m. We will have that report available in the hub, in the finance tab, by 5 p.m. Pacific time on Mondays. And what this will also do is it is going to allow us, again, as I talked about, the future enhancement with additional KPIs. And as most of you, if not all of you, are using Toast for your time and attendance piece, regardless of your payroll vendor, but as your time and attendance piece to clock in and clock out, again, that information is very valuable for you. And we can use that and track trends, see where we can help, maybe where we can also see where the system is going and becoming more efficient. And so quick little peek here as we start loading the information. is the report. As Haley zooms in, you're going to see a different format, but in the same sense of the information that you have been receiving. And so we have the current period, again, for the week ending on Sundays, and then the 13-week period, so the 445 period in the middle columns there, as well as the year-to-date columns. And this was a lot of data mining that we had to do, and a lot of mapping through the APIs for the tech nerds out there. Excuse me, but we do have that down. We do have that down. Excuse me. And so having said that is we are backfilling the information since the beginning of the year, and those will become available hopefully by the end of today. But do give us until Monday on that weekly cadence to update all the forms. Right now, Haley has updated the folder to include this sheet, which is through the period ending 3/29, which is the period, the Q1. And we'll go ahead and start to backfill that information accordingly. The required submissions. I talked a little bit about this, and we know that the inventory and the P&L are monthly submissions that is required through your franchise agreement. And again, coming on both sides of the line here is that we know that sometimes it can be a pain. But having said that, is why do we ask for it? Is because it can help us help you and get the information that we need. As for such, the inventory, you should be doing that on a monthly basis anyway. So that's not it's a best practice from a business standpoint. But having said that, is why we are requiring it is, as Trevor and Jeff have been working on, is it gets us the information that we need downstream. So to help Cisco, to help DOT, to help all of the other distribution points along the route to get the proper product to the proper store efficiently, and also that we never run out. I know that we've had a couple of instances where we have run out of stock of product, and we don't have product, we don't have sales. And so for you, it helps you out, for us to get the information. So that's sort of the why. Again, this should be a best practice. And so all we're asking for is that we receive that so we can better track downstream in terms of how we can help our units in never running out of product, and holding Cisco accountable for what they do in terms of the distribution. The P&L is a requirement through the franchise agreement as well. We are requesting that your monthly P&L be submitted before the 15th of the preceding month. So by April 15th, we expect the March 31, if you're on a calendar month, which most of you are, but if you're on a 445, that's fine as well. So giving us the submission on the of the 15th of the preceding month. And why we're asking for this is not to necessarily track and see how you're doing and tracking that piece, but really keeping to one of our ever goals and getting you to your AUV performance and top line sales, but also on your EBITDA level, because obviously we want you to be successful. Haley has a little illustration that I put together, if we can point to that real quick. And this is, Haley, if you can zoom in just a little bit. This is extremely top level. This is not something that we've produced. It's for illustrative purposes only. Most of you have seen this. Top line sales, the cost of goods, where we put it in the chart of accounts, and how it's presented on the P&L. We want to make that uniform. So that's also why we require the P&L, because I know some people put up the labor up top because it's a direct cost, and so therefore they want to get a gross profit. But as GAAP, we want the inventory expense, your cost of goods, to calculate the gross profit, and then all of those other lines that fall behind. And so again, this is for illustrative purposes only. If this makes you a little queasy in the stomach or the head, we do have this accounting services service that we have announced at the end of last year. And so we are really excited to announce and tell you that we are ready for this as we have fully transitioned to our accounting platform to QuickBooks. What we can promise you is that we will have the books CPA ready on demand. So wherever that information needs to go, either internally through operations or to your CPA for review or whatever. This is going to be on a modified cash basis. We don't need to get in the weeds in that. But what that will do is it'll quickly expedite the numbers for you and push that out in terms of having a quick report in terms of your cash flow and how you're performing on a modified cash basis. We will also provide a weekly P&L on demand if it's requested, as well as an AP aging that we will also have on a weekly cadence. Again, the why is we have the expert business knowledge, so we have the expertise to do it. But I think one of the biggest things is that we are going to be able to do this on a quicker basis and have a quicker response time. We do ask, once we start receiving the information, that we have about 2 or 3 weeks to disseminate and also ensure that we have good information moving forward. And so we ask for that setup time of 2 to 3 weeks to get that all inputted. What we do ask for is your payroll and your banking information, which you can completely put on a read only, on a bookkeeper view only. So we're not messing with that. We don't want to do that. All we want is the correct information for you guys to ensure that you're performing, that your businesses are performing at top notch. What we need is a simple form agreement that we have, and also your opening balances, like I talked about. It's a $275 a month monthly fee plus a $275 one-time setup fee to get that started. That gets your QuickBooks license, your login information, so you have access to that information. We're doing this again because we want you guys to be quick and nimble, and we know on a market comparison that these services that you may have already have are in that 500 plus range, reaching up to $750 a month. But because we're all family and we're in the same business, the rates are shown there. And so if you have any further questions, please reach out to me. My email's there. A lot of you have emailed me and have me on your address label there as EHAR, EHAR at ebfranchise.com. And with that is also that we have our accounting email also live, and with all the technological issues that we had in the past, it is now live and working, and that's accounting at ebfranchise.com as well. With that, I will yield the floor to our marketing department and Amanda.
Thanks, Ed. Hi, everyone. I'm Amanda Guayardo. The best way to remember how to pronounce my last name is Guayardo, like Guayardo's plates in the sink. I'm really thrilled to be here as the new director of marketing. I'm just a little under a month in, so consider this a quick introduction before I hand it back. Give you a little bit more about my background. So my background is in integrated marketing and brand strategy. I've spent over a decade building consumer brands in food and bev, retail, and tech. I've been in the restaurant industry at various points throughout my career, from my first job as a waitress at Applebee's to leading marketing operations at Qdoba Restaurant Corporation through the pandemic. And most recently, I came from Intuit, where I was promoting their food truck entrepreneurship program to high school students across the country. What really drew me to Everbowl is the intersection of a brand with real personality and a beautiful product that people actually want to photograph and share. I think that's a gift. And I hope you'll see as you hear from me more and we interact together how much I love what I do. I think marketing is this incredible dance of art and science, and I want you to love it as much as I do. And because we're a franchise system, we really get the benefit of learning from each other. And my role is really to help connect those wins, the tests, and the creativity that you're all doing in your own markets and grow together. So as I'm getting up to speed here, my 90-day focus is on the fundamentals. So getting our digital foundation right, activating our loyalty data, improving how we communicate with you in the field, and making sure our brand positioning is sharp and consistent. So I'm here to listen as much as I'm here to lead. So we'll be sharing a feedback form to help me capture any feedback you have, ideas, or things you wish corporate would do differently. I'm going to share a few highlights from the last few weeks and then turn it over to Haley for an ops update. So first, I'd be remiss not to reflect on National Acai Bowl Day, which was my second week here. Before I get into the numbers, I just want to take a moment to step back and celebrate all of the hard work that I know everyone on this call did to make it another huge success. So National Acai Bowl Day on April 6th was a huge system-wide win. And it didn't happen because of anything that we did alone here at corporate. So many of you took it upon yourselves to do your own local marketing, your own social post, your own outreach, your own energy, and it really showed. In just one day, we gave away 21,854 free bowls, added 17,814 new verified loyalty members, and we drove over 32,000 downloads of the Everbowl app, which is just incredible. So to contextualize that loyalty signup number, we had a little over 15,000 new account signups over the course of the previous 3 months. So we did more than that in one day. So that means we're not just giving away free Everbowls, we're welcoming a wave of future loyal Ever fans. And anecdotally from the store that I visited, customers heard about it from social media, from friends, from push notifications, from our emails, even from radio. So that kind of response really speaks to the strength of this brand and all of the integrated marketing work that you're doing every day. So we also had the best deal amongst our competitors by far, which really ensured that we owned the day. Looking forward to next year, we really want to elevate that sense of excitement while also ensuring it runs smoothly for every single location. So we are exploring capping each location to free bowls to the first 300 guests. And that kind of better aligns with the spirit of our friends and family night for new store openings and really helps us create a remarkable moment. So we're strategizing how that will come to life. So we welcome your feedback on that proposed new structure. I know we have a whole year to plan it, but that's going to come up quick. So welcome your feedback on that. Behind the scenes, we've also just kicked off a full website redesign, and this is really designed to be built around conversion. So meaning every page on everbowl.com is designed to move a customer from browsing to ordering as quickly as possible. So right now, we're doing some back-end work. We're migrating our content management system to WordPress, which really just gives us a lot more speed and agility, more flexibility, and most critically, it unlocks all of the SEO strategy work our agency NP Digital has been doing. They're already working in the background on technical improvements and local citations. What that means for you practically is that more customers are going to be finding your specific location on Google and in AI chat. So more walk-ins and more sales. And the homepage is really being redesigned to put the menu front and center because we know that when someone lands on our site, they're often very hungry and already looking to order. So every change we're making is designed to move that friction between a curious new customer and their first bowl. And then next, as you all know, our new loyalty platform, Incentivio, went live in October and is active across the system. We've actually built 6 months of data maturity now, which means we're at a really great place to leverage the long-term trends and insights from it. And I know that many of you are really eager to leverage it. So over the next few weeks, each of you will get access to your own location-level dashboard. It's going to show your loyalty order numbers, your loyalty daily sales and transactions, and your gift card analytics. And to make sure that you're getting the most out of it, we don't just want to give it to you and give you no context. We'll be hosting a training session focused on exactly what that includes, how to read your data, what to watch out for, and some early test cases of what the best performing locations are doing to drive results. And then the last thing before I hand it back, so one of my top priorities as I get settled in here is just making sure that communication between corporate and the field actually works. So that means useful communication that helps you run your business, but I cannot build that in a vacuum. So we'll be sending out a short survey after this call, and I'd really love every single one of you to fill it out. It's quick, I promise, to take you about 2 minutes. Every response genuinely shapes how I build our comm strategy going forward. And the more I hear from you now, the better I can show up for you all year. And with that, I will hand it over to Haley.
Perfect. Thank you, Amanda. Okay, y'all, I am super excited to debut a few of the focuses that the training department is going to have in 2026. First and foremost, we are on the hunt for a LMS, which stands for Learning Management System. Essentially, this is a bigger, better, faster, stronger platform that will house all of the training content that would be targeted for both franchisees, inbound or existing, and our team members, store leaders, you name it. The goal is that we have a system where we can track status by store or by user. So that way we know if people are completing these, what percentage of correct they're completing them. We also want something that's mobile focused so that it's more user friendly. And we want this to be engaging. And a lot of that engagement is going to be delivered through gamified content. So that way our team members that fit in that demographic of 16 to 22-year-olds feel more implied and engaged with the content itself. We're also going to be delivering video and written content on this platform, leveraging AI, which most of these platforms do use nowadays to be able to grow and increase the amount of content that's available. So no longer will it just be a recipe card, for example, but it'd be a recipe card, a quiz, a short story, a meme associated with it, a video, you name it. We're also looking to introduce a certification program this year. And this certification program would support our goal of having one certified trainer minimum in each store. This could be a franchisee, a store leader, or a team member, but our goal is that we have not only one representative per store, but that we also formally certify every respective position within the Everbowl ecosystem. Franchisees would be certified after their franchisee training. Franchisees would be certified to do the store openings and lead team trainings and lead team member trainings. Subsequently, for store leaders, they would be certified to be trainers and train team members. Team members would be certified on all of the day-to-day operations that take place in store. And this is going to serve really well because we will then be able to recognize if your store sales are down, we can look to see the certification status of the store. If you have 4 team members that have not yet been certified for, let's say, an LTO that launched 2 weeks ago, that could be one of the attributing reasons. Lastly, as Trevor mentioned in his section, we are also looking for field trainers. We are going to be posting on Indeed, and we're accepting internal and external applicants. So if you know of anyone in the system that may be interested in the field trainer position, or if you know of any friends in your communities that would be interested, we will have that job posting soon, and we do encourage you all to apply. As we sift through those applicants, we look to bring that person on here in the near future. I do also want to take a moment to review some of our spring promotion results. Now, as you know, the spring promotion is not yet finished. We have a few more weeks to go, but I do want to share our early findings. All of the data that I'll be sharing with you right now is from the start of the promotion, which was February 18th, to the end of last week, so Sunday. So first, I want to show you the top sip items, and this is based on all sips, which include our lemonades. You'll see here that Iced Strawberry Matcha, which is newly introduced, has surpassed even the fan favorites of the strawberry and the dragon fruit matcha. Iced Strawberry Matcha is representing 20% of all sales within the category. Strawberry Lemonade is representing 12% of sales within the category, and Dragon Fruit Lemonade is representing 10% of sales. Now, if we shifted focus and instead only looked at the newly introduced beverages, mainly the coffees and the matchas, we'll see that Iced Strawberry Matcha is still in first place at 20%, and the PB Protein Ice Blended Coffee is represented at 9%, and the cold brew with cinnamon cold foam is represented at 7%. We have noticed that the trend in PMix has been consistent week over week, despite different discount rotations and the so far 8 weeks into the promotion that we've had. So we're interested to see how that continues as these items stay permanently on our menu. I do also want to share with you a quick snapshot as to what the total menu group sales look like. So what we're looking at here in this chart is our top menu group sales. First, we have our signature bowls, which represent 47.85% of sales, so nearly 50% of our sales. Following closely behind that, we have our whatever bowls. So you'll see 47% plus 32% are represented in bowl sales. Signature smoothies, for those of you that joined the call early, we were talking a bit about how smoothies have grown as a percentage. We used to hover around approximately 7%, and following recent enhancements to smoothie recipes, as well as the introduction of 2 of our newer signature smoothies, such as the Evergreen and the Glow Up, we've noticed that that category as a whole has risen, and we're now surpassing 9% of sales with smoothies. Next, our next 2 highest categories are toast and sips. Now, do keep in mind that although these categories look to be reading as a low % of sales, their primary driver is to be purchased in accompaniment to another item. So a bowl and a toast, a smoothie and a toast, a bowl and a sip, what have you. These are also at a lower dollar price. So they won't represent as high of a percentage of the P-mix because they don't cost as much on the menu as a bowl or a smoothie does. So we're really excited to see how the data continues to grow as we get more as time goes on. With that, we have now reached the questions and discussion section of the town hall. Huge thank you to everyone that has been chatting questions. We are trying to answer them as they come in. I'm sure in the last couple of minutes, there have been plenty more that have been added. What we're first going to do is address the questions that were submitted in advance through the form. So I'm gonna call on a couple team members to answer the question as they're read aloud. And then we will address any outstanding questions in the chat and give everyone an opportunity to raise their hand and unmute themselves to ask questions in real time. So with that, our first question comes from TJ in Omaha, and he's inquiring about professional chefs or staff to work in the test kitchen. Trevor, did you want to answer that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, TJ, we use in-house resources and outside resources whenever needed based on whichever product it is that we're looking at. So we've outsourced many in the past and we will continue to do so as needed. It really just depends on the product that we're developing.
And the next question also from TJ asks why there isn't a larger focus on new bowls.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And that's really what, Jeff is addressing with the menu expansion. The emphasis is not to be a one-trick pony and compete against every other person that's only doing bowls. Our strategy is to enhance and to grow the breadth and depth of the menu so we can attract more people that are outside of our bowl lovers and to grow the frequency. And I think as a quick example, which we'll go through on, I'm sure on the webinar, if you go right now to JambaJuice.com, or if you go right now to SmoothieKing.com, or if you go to many of our competitors right now, you're not going to see bowls and smoothies. You're going to see hot food items. And this is where this is the direction of where our competitors are going. And it is something that we are looking forward to diversifying. We've still got the strength of our bowls. Those are never going to go away. And the last thing I'll say about that is a major portion of what we sell is the whatever bowls. So creating additional signature bowls, may or may not have the biggest lift. And right now we're looking, in order for us to get that $100,000 AUV lift, we've got to do something different than what we have done in the past, right? So
if I can, Trevor, if I can just jump in a little bit, but we all are still coming out with new bases and working on creative ways to expand and improve the bowls. The bowls are fantastic. We want to keep doing that. We want to lean into it, but we're not going to be able to increase the ticket. And if I was coming for a bowl and I switched from an acai and a blue magic to an acai and a mango, I still paid the same amount of money in the store. And while it's a different product and it's creative and it's keeping me coming maybe a little bit more often because of variety, which we want, we need to increase revenue and we need to make you guys more money. And the way we're going to do that is by understanding, again, how consumers shop and where consumers shop. And we already have identified that we have our cohort of diehard loyalist customers. So we want to bring them in more often. And so when they're coming for a bowl, they come for us. But when they're coming for something other than a bowl but how they eat, they have to go somewhere else. How do we sell more drinks? As Haley was mentioning, the sips are an accoutrement to something else. How many times do you eat a bowl and a drink? Not as often. So what can we do to increase the ability to sell 2 more products and move product through our system? How do we improve our relationship with Sysco? We do that by also having an increased purchase with them where we're buying a couple extra SKUs that don't go bad, and that will enable us to have better terms and for you to have more deliveries on time and become more meaningful with them. How do we improve our relationship and what we're doing inside the communities and through free PD and catering is having more products that aren't just melt and cold. So when you guys have those winters that you feel is tough, how do we normalize sales across that period of the year? Well, we do that with other products. So it allows us to expand our off-premise sales, which is the fastest growing segment by a ton. It allows us to reach new customers. It allows us to continue to treat our existing customers. We're never going to lose the bowls. We're never losing focus on the bowls, and that's still happening. We have LTO still coming around the bowls and our smoothies. But as Trevor said, Tropical Smoothie Cafe just introduced acai bowls for the first time in the last 24 months. Smoothie King, for the first time in 40 years, launched a hot food. Why? Because if I'm going to lunch and I want a bowl and you don't, what else can you get at Everbowl? Not a ton. So the idea is we want to remove the veto. We want to increase the ability for upsells. We want to increase the ability to reach customers where they are. And remember, Everbowl's for everybody, and we're a better for you company. And the goal is to start to bring people in, and we do that by reaching them. And not everybody's ready to only have our bowls. So while we crush the market in against our competitors in the bowl specificity, we need to expand it. And we need to do it in a way very similar to how we do it today, in a throughput model that allows young adults who aren't sophisticated in the kitchen to make our food, keep the throughput high, and do it in the same area. So I think it's a great question, and I don't want us to ever think that we're trying to go away from bowls. We are Everbowl, but let's be Everbowl for everybody, and let's increase sales and revenue for everybody on this call, so we're all making more money and we're serving more customers. And Everbowl is a much bigger play and stay in every community.
Yeah, and I think TJ, the way to say that is it's not either or, it's and both is what we're doing.
Fantastic. The next question comes from Brandon Padilla. He says that as we roll out new hot food items, how is corporate going to ensure that we do not dilute the core Everbowl identity, given that bowls remain a primary revenue driver and what guests know us for? How can we prioritize more bowl-focused innovation, such as protein, sugar-free coffee, matcha, or peanut butter bases, along with curated specialty or secret menu bowls that strengthen the brand and align with customer expectations rather than expanding into non-bowl categories?
Yep.
Great question.
I think Jeff just kind of answered that.
Yeah, and I think he also probably has a camera in some of our offices, because some of those fun ideas you have in bowls are you may start to see some of those in the next couple of weeks. So I think Trevor said it's not an or, it's an and we're not losing our identity by offering more. We're trying to do both, because I don't think the frustration over the winter is you guys want to sell more product. You want to make more revenue. When it's 10 degrees outside in parts of the country, you want to sell stuff. When you want to do off-prem stuff, you want to sell things. So the goal isn't to change our identity. Everbowl is going to still be Everbowl, but we do sell what's called a whatever bowl. And in that whatever bowl, there are things. And so we want to, again, expand our identity and maximize the fact that your rent stays static, whether we sell acai bowls or we sell acai bowls and we sell avocado toast. If you sell 100 more pieces of toast today, you still paid the same rent. So let's make you guys more money as a business owner, as franchisees, first and foremost. Let's hit more of our customers. Let's drive revenue higher so we can hire more members in our community and give back to our communities. And let's make Everbowl more accessible to everybody. That's the goal. So we're not losing our identity. And I don't want us to think that that's not the intention. We're not going away from bowls. We're going with bowls and it's important that we not look at what and how the market is ordering and consuming, as 3PD and off-prem sales are growing dramatically. And so we also want to be searchable. And when you go into DoorDash, you don't always put a restaurant, you put what kind of food you're looking for. So if I write the word salad and we don't sell a salad, we're not popping up. If I write the word avocado toast and we didn't have that, we're not popping up. So when I type avocado toast and I have it and my wife says, I want a bowl, that's going to be great. So I know you guys don't have a lot of information, so you're sitting there and you're like, well, guys, you haven't told us anything. And that's true. And I'm not asking you guys or expecting you to do anything that we're going live June 1. I'm saying June 1, we're trying to make sure we have power, so you're not disrupting the flow of your store in June, July, August, and September, cutting walls and interrupting your sales. So knowing that, we're targeting June 1 to have you all set up and prepared. We're working diligently to provide a remarkable experience here. And along those lines, I assure you, you'll have plenty of opportunity to ask all your questions. This today was more about other stuff, and I just wanted to give you guys more ample time because we realized the power constraint. And I am fast and running, and I don't want to tell you guys in the middle of May, hey, we want power here, and you're going to say, well, why didn't you give us more time? I'm giving you as much time as I can. So that's all I have on that. I don't want to talk too much more about it because we're going to have these subsequent calls.
I do think a few people have their hands raised. I don't know if they wanted to chime in on the subject before we moved on. Summerlin, Aletha?
I think we should save it, though, honestly, because there's so much other great things we covered today, and we're going to have a dedicated call about this. And I promise you, we're going to answer every question. We're going to go through it in so much detail. But I think that there was so much important other areas that are happening right now that we talked about that can carry and affect us tomorrow, and wins that we're having and sharings and savings. So I'm not shutting any question down, and we can do this offline, but I almost didn't want to even mention it today for this reason, because I want us to focus on all the great stuff from Q1 and the things that we were intended to do. I just wanted to give time for the power and get in front of everyone's mind. So
I'll just say, hey, TJ, because I was actually at corporate, and they brought in a corporate chef from Mary Chef that was helping with recipes and everything. And obviously I'm going to be making this investment times 10 locations, and I'm personally beyond excited for it. You know, like the main thing Jeff was mentioning is people aren't on DoorDash searching for acai bowls very much, but they are searching for a sandwich or a wrap or this or whatever, and then they might find our acai bowls or our smoothies or our matcha. And so even at a very small dollar amount per day, and I think we're going to do a lot more than that, it's just a no-brainer and opens us up to so many more opportunities. So I think Alex and I have seen a little bit of kind of what the next phase is, and I think you're going to be really, really excited. Everybody is, but it definitely takes a little patience to get through the hoops.
Okay, fantastic. The next question from Brandon Padilla is there a plan to reduce SKU creep as we add new categories?
I can touch that too if you want, Trevor.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's why it's taking so long. I mean, as Justin alluded to, that was back in early December when he was out there and we were already working on this. The key isn't just have a menu. The key is to have how can we have as expansive a menu with as limited number of new SKUs as possible, right? Kind of like you think about our bowls. We have 8 bases, but you can make a enormous amount of different styles of whatever bowls, and we have the number of fruits we do and the amount of options that are available. So we're not trying to bring in a single SKU to make a single item, and then we have that times 45, and you have 45 new SKUs, and it's a catastrophe. So that is what's taking time. That's why we don't have this all dialed in for a call that I can tell you tomorrow we're having it, because until we finalize those details, the key isn't the menu. The key is the apparatus and the ability to expand to this menu, which is the machine, which is the power. That doesn't change whether we sell one item versus another. You need the freezer and the dipping cabinet, regardless of what base flavors are in there. And if something doesn't sell, if we have a base flavor like Coco Limon that nobody wants to have because it's not moving and it's removed, the equipment didn't change. And so what we're talking about today, and the only thing I was alluding to was, can you give you as much time to start to understand that you may not know exactly where the power needs to go, and we need to work with each other, and we got to hire an electrician, and we want to do it long before we hit June, July, August, September, in the middle of our summer. Same thing is what we're trying to do. So strategically, now that we've identified power in certain elements, we want to target that date, and it's over 6 weeks from now. We want to give you guys and us and everybody time to organize, coordinate, and find the right way to do it. And that was really all today, this moment was. So I know it's something new and you're feeling anxious and left in the dark, and that's not by intention. I'm not leaving you in the dark, or we're not leaving you in the dark. We're waiting till we have all the answers so we can discuss it and share and do it. We are going to be testing. We're testing in a lot of stores here locally and in a few different markets, not just San Diego. We're going to be doing it in a way that is going to enable you to win, and we're putting our dollars behind it, which we'll get into. But ideally for the rest of this, guys, like I'm asking, please, can we tailor more of the questions back towards today's stuff? Because there's a lot of really good things around finance and marketing and NABD and Q1 and questions that you should ask to make sure that we are improving and delivering tomorrow, long before we work into the expansion of the thing. Because all we're talking about right now is power up front so we can install a piece of equipment in the future. And that's giving you that amount of time. So I'll pass it back to you, Trevor.
Okay, thanks. Haley, next question.
The next question is regarding the approach to testing and how stores can be chosen to participate in tests.
Yeah, that's a great question. So when we choose stores to test, and by the way, if you want to be a test store, absolutely email Haley and say, I want to be included in a test. We obviously can't include, everybody in test, but when we select test stores, it is by diversity of geographic region. It is diversity between multi-unit operators and single operators. It is diversity between newer franchisees and mature franchisees. And we really try to get a good cross-section of the entire country to make sure that we can roll it out. There's also logistical challenges. We need to make sure that, we can get all the products to the test stores timely. But yeah, if you want to be a part of that test and any future tests that we do, happy to have you throw your hat in the ring. And I think that we should change test stores as well, not just always of the same group doing it.
The next question is in regards to royalty and payment polls and updates on when those can expect to be pulled and any regular trends for when that will be pulled. Ed?
Yeah, thank you. We realize that there are, again, through this transition, the accounting platform transition, as well as other things that are pulling from it, it's been taking time. So yes, these are growing pains, and we apologize for that. In specificity is that we do pull our royalty and brand dev requirements on Monday Monday morning, we start working on that. And then it comes to me for review, and then it goes out. I know from a fact that if we submit on Monday, it does not go through until Tuesday. And then I hate to pass the baton, but it's sort of out of our hands because it probably touches 5 different places, not only from our originating bank, but then your bank and the regional bank and this and that and the clearinghouse. So we apologize for that. But from an administrative standpoint on the finance side, we do push it through on by Tuesday morning. It does go through through our bank.
Excellent. And Ed, the next question's for you as well. This one was submitted in advance, but there's also a relevant question being typed in the chat. The question is, when will tech fees be pulled each month? And the subsequent question is, can you explain more on the tech fee and what it is for?
Sure. I'll let Trevor chime in here, but on the tech fee on the billing, it is on the same cadence as well, towards the first of the month. And I think I answered previously on the polls and the process that it goes through. Trevor, if you want to talk about the tech fee.
Yeah, I actually just now responded to that. The tech fee covers your email. It covers platforms that we currently use, Moxo, LMS, other technology platforms that we have. And it also covers future development of platforms. If we want to be leading edge and really bring you guys technologies that are going to enhance and drop money to the bottom line, make you understand the business better and manage inventory, everything that we're doing, we've got to build towards that. So that's it covers current and future development.
The next question is regarding merchant fees and net deposits and the previously communicated net deposit opportunity when we were migrating with Toast. Trevor, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, that's fine. The net settlement deposit that we were going to do became technologically impossible in the short term here. It's something we'd love to do in the future just because it's more seamless and it makes it easier and we don't have to pull ACHs all the time. But we just couldn't get across technologically. There were too many issues that blocked it.
Yeah, the only way, just to touch on that, was going to require a step that we didn't feel comfortable, and I'm assuming you wouldn't have either, which was that we would have to essentially get possession of your cash first and then give it to you. And we didn't feel as an organization that was appropriate. So that was the short-term fix as they're trying to fix it from the long-term permanency. So we were told we could, and that was why we were doing it. And then when we learned how it had to be, that we had to essentially take your money from them and then give it to you, we did not want to do that. So we said no, and that's why short-term we can't do it.
There's a follow-up question to that, clarifying if there's an opportunity for merchant fees to be full daily instead of monthly.
I think that would be too limiting for our team at this point.
The next question is, when will we have access to updated nutritionals? I was under the impression that we were legally required to have them after a set period of time. Trevor?
We are going to, we got the obviously calorie counts on our menu boards, which are legally required if a product's going to be on there 90 days or longer. And we are going to be doing all of our nutritionals in tandem with the new menu items that we're going to be rolling out. We are, as Amanda alluded to, developing a new, much more robust, much better website. And the new nutritionals will be housed probably in timing with the launch of that website. We're looking at maybe mid-July on that.
And I do see that there are several hands raised. I don't know if they're new or old hands raised. Did anybody else have any questions that they wanted to ask in real time?
So this is Kim. Oh, sorry.
No, Kim, go ahead.
So I am so happy to see that Justin is excited to get all this equipment for his 10 stores. And that's great. I want to be excited too. Can we have a date when you guys want to tell us all about what's going on? I am beyond frustrated that it's like, oh, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. But it's a secret and we'll tell you later, and go get your electric, but we don't have a model number for the piece of equipment. So I really don't know where to put my electric. I'm sorry. I'm having a tough time with this.
And Kim, let me take, and I don't want you to, and I'm sorry that it's coming in feeling that way, because that's the last thing. The equipment's not a secret. It is the Mary Chef. We're going to get you all the details. We could get it to you later today. what is used inside of the Mary Chef is what we're finalizing, because again, it's got to be nationally available SKUs. There's a lot that goes to it that in the past we may have taken for granted, and some of the frustrations that the system has expressed with a lot of the false starts and how things are rolled out is because we did not spend enough time on these minutia details, which is why we've been working on this since October. A lot of things we want to do aren't going to make the cut. One of the things we just talked about with the net settlement is a great example. We were told it could be done. We shared it. It's frustrating for all of us because it's not happening, but we didn't understand what was required because we didn't ask and go through the minutia, which is essential. What we do know emphatically is we have to expand our menu in a way that allows us to increase our tickets and normalize our sales and lose the dips that come in the winter and serve more customers. And when you do any level of deep research into our category and where our consumers and how they're eating and where they're going from not only just our competitors, but the space, this type of equipment, without having to have a real investment, is the way to go. We were not going to force a $10,000, $8,000, $4,000 piece of equipment on anybody. So we made sure, and we are making sure with corporate at Mary Chef, that not only are we able to get some discounts, but that we're able and are going to ensure that there is a way for $200 a month, $250, whatever the number is, and I don't have the exact number here, but a couple $100 a month, be able to have the equipment in your store and making revenue. And for the store, for this piece of equipment to pay for itself is if you just use a standard 30%, you're talking it's $666 a month in revenue that it has to basically generate in new revenue for it to pay for itself. It's not a huge uplift. And if we can't do that with a bit of a piece of equipment that is used by the biggest restaurants in the world, from Subway and Starbucks to Wawa and a whole host of other ones, and you're welcome to check these out, and all of our competitors as well. If we're not able to use and develop and expand our offering to justify that type of a monthly cost, then we have a lot of other issues, and we are very, very, very aware of what we're trying to do. So this was never to increase stress on you or anyone else. This was to give people time to say, okay, I got to reach out to corporate. We got to figure out where to put this power. I got to organize myself, but it's not expensive to put power in either. It is also, I believe we did it we priced it in one store and it was $130. Like, we're not dumping a $10,000 bill on your face without any knowledge or information. So what again, today, the only thing I was trying to do was allude to the fact that we are moving towards a new piece of equipment in our stores. It is going to require power. We've identified pretty much the machine. There's 2 or 3 options inside of Mary Chef that we want to finalize so we can get the most cost-effective one, but also the most durable, simplistic one for our team. They're going to all use the same power, and we know now that what we need is this power. Now we got to work with you to say, okay, in your store, because every store is not going to be able to put it in the same spot, that there's going to be a percentage of you that is going to require a little of nuance or thinking and thorough. So we want to give all of ourselves time, because when we roll this out, I want to be able to provide all of you the same support. And if you don't have your machine and can't participate, then you're not going to be able to participate. And then after the fact is going to be when it's going to be. It is going to be a machine we're going to be using. We have a lot of ways that it can touch our current and other items. Even with our avocado toasts today, this machine can also do that kind of a toast thing. So there is a lot of ways for us to use it. The machine itself is what we're discussing. The menu is where it's not finalized, and we're not going to put an item on the menu with a SKU that is expensive. And these food costs are significantly better is also what we're working towards, making sure every Sysco has the product, and also making sure that you have the freezer space already to be able to hold all this product. So you're not having to buy additional equipment outside of that. So it's not as simple as I thought it would be when Justin and Alex saw it back in December. A lot of those items didn't make the cut, unfortunately, even though they were great, because they didn't touch the items and requirements that are there. So please appreciate, we're not trying to keep you guys in the dark. We're not trying to deflect and evade, but I also don't want to do what I have heard from you guys in the past, the frustration of not give us ample time to understand and absorb and do it, not come to us with a fully remarkable, thought through program. And as much as I'd love to have, big town hall conversations with everything, and I mean this respectfully, it's very hard to get it done because 5 of us will not agree on the same thing regardless, and I don't want everyone to feel that they voiced an opinion that wasn't heard and appreciated, because that is not a good feeling either. So we're going to ensure that this is going to be a win. We're staking a lot on it. We're not throwing something at you that we just came up with last week. We've been working on this for a long time. By the time Justin and them saw it in December, we had already gone through a ton of iterations. We have brought in very expensive resources. We have working on all of this. So please, Kim, I don't want you to feel stressed. I don't want you to feel apprehension and anxiety. I'm trying to give you time. And if don't rush to do it today, we can have a conversation in the next week or two. It's just 6 weeks is going to come. And if I wait till 3 weeks, it's going to feel rushed and unfair. And if we wait till the middle of July, the middle of June, you're going to say, this is our busiest season, which is why we tried to get a lot of this stuff done in the winter and get it all done before now. Because as you saw earlier, we have a 6.6 lift in sales, same store sales. We're trying to grow your AUVs a minimum of 100,000 average, which means we're only 6.6 out of 6.6 same store sales. And if you take 470, we've got a lot of room to grow, and we got to do it now in half of it in 3/4 of a year. And you should hold us to that goal, push us. And that's what my commitment and goal is to you guys. And I'm working tirelessly, and so is the team here. And so I want to get away from this topic, because this is going to be a big topic, but I understand, and I felt your angst in your voice, and I don't want you to feel, or anyone to feel that. I put my text in the thread. I'm happy to talk to all of you. I'm happy we're going to go into this. We're going to put our money behind this for you guys when we launch. We are doing a lot here. But it's also hard to do testing in 1 or 2 store markets when you can't market the product to get enough customer base to come in. So we've got to also remember, this is also the exciting part, guys. Like, Everbowl is a younger franchise, and you guys joined with that excitement and that opportunity. We do grow together. We learn from each other. We are Kaizening. We're getting better. I'm not asking you guys to put $10,000, $8,000, $1,000 for power down, right? That's not the ask. But we wouldn't be doing this if there was not a way for us to be able to pay for the machine and make sure that it is not a low barrier to accomplish that. And we are going to deliver that. I promise. Simultaneously, I saw one other question I just want to hit. When you go to Cisco, my net 15, I'd ask for net 21 and push hard, because we can get that. And if you guys run into resistance, we will work together, because that has been, it's not in our contract, but it has been committed. So I'll pass that off now.
I see a few other folks with their hands raised. If you would like to unmute yourself, you're welcome to at this time.
Jeff, it's Patrick. I know we don't want to keep belaboring this topic, but obviously, as you can hear by Kim's comments and some of the other comments in the chat, I think, and I tagged you in a comment I wrote, it would definitely be beneficial to have a dedicated call, which I know that's the plan, but sooner rather than later. And let's not wait to have the menu outlined, because it seems like we've certainly got some more questions and specifics to talk through. I think will help settle some of the maybe concerns. Just open communication. I think that would help the franchisees a lot on the topic. Trust me, I'm all for it. I agree. I'm a cold weather multi-unit operator, so anything to increase it is definitely a benefit, but I think we're just looking for more communication.
Oh, absolutely. And I appreciate that. And that's why I think I brought this up back in the call end of the year, that we were working hard on this thing. But other than the equipment, which is a definitive conversation around how we're doing it and what our approach is healthy. But it's not something that what I can deliver in why it's not meant for today is because when we roll this out for the next phase, we're rolling it out with the spirit of it, and we can go through all this. And so again, I just didn't want this to be today, simply and solely because this was the call for Q1. And I think that there's so many things that we should focus today on, and happy to go deep on this. We could spend an entire day discussing it. I am available, but this one call, I don't want to diminish where we can be focusing. And these things, we don't have the machine or a menu tomorrow, but we do have our business tomorrow. And I think there's so many things on the marketing side that we covered that is going to help propel, and questions that I want us to push harder on how we leverage that loyalty program. And one of the questions was fantastic. And working with Incentivio, because we can cohort our customer base and understand how they're responding to our efforts and our focus, and off-prem sales, and what we can be doing collectively together, and how we can be growing our existing sales with what we have in the door today, and making sure that we're making friends with our customers. And are we actually making friends with our customers, welcoming them every time they walk in the door, which, Haley was touching on training. I think we do a very good job as a fleet training new stores and opening, but we need to also remember that whoever hires the person who gets hired 7 months from today and how they're trained is the telephone game if we don't have this great system that Haley and Trevor and the team are working hard on, and you guys are supporting and we're working together. So I think that while the menu is cool and it's going to be amazing and it's going to help, really how we're going to hit that goal is through how we do our marketing and how we increase the customer experience at Everbowl that we can do right now. And are we hiring friend makers? Do we encourage our staff to upsell? Are we talking about products or are we doing transactions? Transaction restaurants don't win. Relationship restaurants where we are making friends and engaging with the customer base do. So are we doing role plays and supporting our stores and our staff? And you should be asking us all the help and support you guys need to effectuate that. And if you're not getting it, we need to know so we can do better for you. Like, that's why I understand totally what you're saying. And I told Trevor, I didn't even want to touch it on this today because I knew it was going to commandeer the call, but he was right to give you guys as much time for just organizationally knowing that we're going to have to need some power. That was today. I really like to use this time as a town hall and with the whole consensus group here. We got, Ed and Amanda, who are amazing new hires to the organization. The sales reports and information you guys need to make sure that you can make real-time decisions. Because as we talk about technology, if I'm you, I want to know who's working in my store when I'm selling the most stuff. And are they working my busy shifts? And who's in my store when our sales are the worst? Am I putting them on busy shifts? And am I understanding that my clock ins and clock outs, are they clocking in and out wrong? Like, we need to be helping you guys because in restaurants, in this kind of business, the mistake I made when I had 28 of my own, and the mistake that a lot of us make is we focus on big dollars and forget that this is a penny business. The dollars take care of themselves. And I think I've shared this story, but it's really important. With 28 stores, I was losing money on my labor, not realizing how. And then I realized that the average employee was clocking in 4 to 5 minutes early and 4 to 5 minutes late. And when you have 4 to 6 team members times 28 stores times 360 days a year of business, and you add another 10 minutes of labor for every employee, but you don't notice it on a daily basis, do the math. It adds up. And so we want to help you guys with the technology and the tools and the resources so we don't have a big lift on that. So you guys can see it real time. We're working on dashboards. We're working really hard on our technology stack with Amanda on the marketing side. And Ed on the data side to empower you guys to do this, because that's going to make you money. That's going to change the entire dynamic of all of your expenses. The inventory reports and helping you guys understand that so we can understand that so we can get to true food costs, because you saw us negotiate for the POS system for you. We are going to do that when we understand the needs. The needs aren't gross big things that everyone sees, because then we'd all see them. The needs are, what information do you guys need to run your business better and easier and more efficiently so you're making as much money as possible while not hurting the customer experience or limiting who's in the store. Not having the right staff members on a busy day, you think you're saving money, but you're hurting it if you're not engaging and building relationship with a customer. So we got to help you do that. And the way we're going to do that is to increase the ticket. And the way we're going to do that is with upsells. And the way we're going to do that is by having more things that people can combine together. So it really is not as simple as, in health, I'm a big, I focus on cures of diseases. And it's like, this cures cancer in under a microscope, but in the human body, it doesn't. Why? Because there's a lot of other things that pull on stuff. And it's true in our business, right? You guys have weather. I'm working on something right now to empower you to have better forecasting of weather impact at your specific location. So we can use weather forecasts to help build the schedule. So we know that bad weather is coming. We schedule a little bit different. We understand our hours to make sure that we're opening at the right time, closing at the right time. We're working with Cisco to get the data so we can better understand throughput and velocity. Like, we just ran a 13-week velocity report that we finally were able to figure out with them because they're giving us data and know May is 1.3 times higher in revenue on average than March. So knowing that, we got to make sure Cisco has the right product. You guys need to make sure that you have the right staff. We got to make sure that we're equipped to handle it, because the worst thing in the world is to bring 5 new customers in the door and not make it remarkable. So I know it's hard on a town hall. We don't engage and interact daily with each other, and it's not us versus you and us not here trying to do it. I mean, you are our customer. The customer that walks through our door is our customer. So we're together. I mean, we need to do this for all of us. And the way we're doing it is through all of these focuses and investments. So I totally get it. And I totally appreciate the feeling, because I feel the same way with Cisco. Trust me, they don't hold product, and I'm like, I'm not there. But what I don't realize is all the nuance that comes into supply chain and logistics of how they source and get the material and ingredients, and they're leveraging on your buying patterns to know what they need to source, but you're not buying in December and January because it's cold, and then all of a sudden it gets better. So in that front, that's what we're working towards. And we're trying to remove as many things that we don't need and give you better tools for better economics. And that's what we're working on. So I hear you and I'm available, but today's, what I think is, if we focus more of the questions around what we covered, the training with Haley, access to the right financial data with Ed, the local and global marketing initiatives, and how we're tying it to loyalty with Amanda. And then obviously with Trevor, with the vision and what our goals are. Everything we're going to talk about with the menu has to touch those too. And so I want to do this, guys. I'm not pushing you off. I promise you. I know it feels like I am, but we could spend 5 hours on just this topic. And then what was the point of the whole Q1, town hall? The whole point of the Q1 town hall is we don't have the menu or the power tomorrow, but we have a business to run. And the things that are in place allow us to get a 6.6 lift same store sales. Let's get it higher in Q2. So what are we doing to do that? You should be asking us that question, and we should be asking you. And we got to do better on communication. I saw some of those messages, and you're right. And I'm going to challenge you guys to do better too, because we need information back. Ed's asking you guys to put the revenue in that you got lost with Toast. That's very important information for us, because if they're losing revenue for us, we got to fight. But if it looks like a small number, we're not putting much effort into this, and it affects you guys. And we're not going to have adequate product for you if we don't realize that Bowls went out the door because Cisco is only going to hold as minimal product as possible. And I'm giving them data based on what I can pull. And without your inventory reports, I don't know what SKUs you're sitting on. I don't know if you're over ordering or overbuying, or can we seasonally buy plastics instead, from China when we know that shipping rates are better, and we hold it here based on knowing what you guys are holding in inventory. This information is what allows us to do these things. So we've got to be transparent with each other, but it is a two-way street. And I know that when we ask for information, we get very little back. That doesn't mean that you aren't great at what you guys are doing. It doesn't mean that when you email us, we're not great at what we're doing, but you're running a business and so are we. And so we need to prioritize the needs of the business together. And that was what I think we discussed in December, my commitment to you in 26. This is all we're focused on. I promise this is it. And to do this, it is a together. And so if you're stressed, I put my cell there. You guys can text me. Obviously, Trevor, everyone is available here. And we're not trying to knock anyone off, but a small movement of this boat in the right direction is going to materially and meaningfully change the economics for some of you. And that's what we're here to do. And I promise you, if you don't believe it, call me and text me, Trevor, etc. And if we don't deliver on it, then that's a conversation that we're going to have and hold me accountable.
Jackie in South Summerlin, you have your hand raised. Do you have a question?
No, sorry, I didn't realize I had raised my hand. I apologize.
No,
so.
Rania in Hamilton Mill, do you have a question?
Hey, no, I ended up raising my hand, but I put it in the text, so I'm good. Thank you.
Sounds good.
Hi.
Awesome. Miss Cassie, do you have your hand raised?
Hey there. Okay, so being a new franchisee, I'm just going to speak from that point of view. Like, I'm so happy to hear the good, bad, or indifferent, because we all are a family. And when you join a brand to be a part of that brand with others. So I think it's so important that we're doing this and in real time, like having your say. Just to Jeff, like as a leader of this company and having done it before, having pioneered it, there are growing pains. We've been a part of other franchise groups where we've grown, and this is the growth that the company needs. I think personally, I'll just put my opinion out there. And we have to spend money to make money, and it hurts to spend money. Anybody, it's painful to make an investment, but I think that overall it is a great thing. And I think it's really hard to be transparent without all of the details, because we're all detail-oriented people, because it all makes sense throughout the day how this all comes to life. So it's normal to like want the now answer, right? But there's so many working parts. So all I want to say is thank you to everybody that's been involved in this process. We're headed in the right direction. I feel like it's going to be really great. Us building out our new store, like we're working to put electric in now too. And it's just nice. Somebody, I think it was Hamilton, commented like, how does this change the dynamics for building code? What we've experienced is because it's not a hood, it's not a, it's not changing the game for us. I mean, it's a piece of equipment that is, cost effective for what the movement is, but I think it's not requiring you to change building codes. You guys can speak on that, but I know from my standpoint of standing in my store right now getting built out, that's not a thing happening. So thank you.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. And it does not change. There's something called a tabletop exception, which is part of this equipment need, which is one of the reasons why it is a little pricier in the equipment capability. It also allows us to set very per item settings that can't be adjusted by someone in the store. So a 10-year-old could walk in and push a button that is the right button for that item, and it's going to cook the same for everybody. Again, simplicity. So there's a lot of reasons, but it is what's called a tabletop exception. And so it does not require anything but the power to turn it on. It doesn't require the hoods and all of that. And that's why we're saying we need to work together between now and when we want to go live to make sure that power is available in the right spot. Some of you, it might already be. Some of you, it might not. Everyone's store is a little bit different. And that was why that was really the purpose of making sure that we announced it today, to give ample time for everybody to be aware. I got some planning to do. I got something to look at, and I got to work either with corporate or whoever on my side to get it done.
Fantastic. Does anybody else have any questions at this time? Okay. With that, we will be sending a transcript of all of the chatted questions with the questions and the answers. It's going to be a long one. We will be including that in the recap email that will be being sent today. That recap email will also have this presentation, the recording of the presentation, which is linked to the hub, and a few of the really important links, such as the Mary Chef oven and the things that Ed detailed in his section that are now posted on the hub as well. So keep an eye out for that later today. As always, we really appreciate your time and your attendance. We appreciate the engagement on today's call. I appreciate everybody chiming in. It's always a pleasure to see each of you. I wish you all a happy weekend, and thank you so much.
Great discussion.